and welcome to the Yarn Waffle podcast. My name is Liz Ward. I'm a crochet designer living in York in the UK with my two cats, Puka and Cal. Puka is just here. I don't know if you can see a tail, maybe a little bit. Yes, welcome. This is my podcast where I talk about what I've been making and creating over the past few weeks. This week, as in the past few episodes, it is mainly knitting. I do have a few crochet projects on the horizon, but there probably won't be any news of those this week. So yes. First off, I wanted to start by saying thank you for all the wonderful comments on the last episode and your picks for what yarn I should go for the new Stephen West mystery shawl cowl. I have decided on the yarn, and again, thank you for not saying go out and buy some more yarn. I kind of went out and bought some more yarn. Not totally. I'll show you my picks now, because obviously next episode it will have started and I'll be able to show the first bit I've knit. So very exciting. But yeah, the main colour that I dyed up last time. Yes, I have a new ball winder, so I have these all in cake form because I was trying it out. But I do love winding balls by hand, and I decided to go for the pink that I also dyed. So I dyed these two colours. So this is the main colour and this is the first contrast. And then what put a cat among the pigeons is I got some yarn from eBay on a D-stash, and this is a Quing fibre yarn, and the colourway is called Whole, and it does have that sort of pink in it as well. So this decided it had to become part of the mystery shawl. And then none of the other colours, all my singles, really worked. So I decided to go where you go when you need a really good single. And I went to Black Elephant. And I cannot, oh no, this colourway is called Under Pressure. And if you can see, it has the pinks and the greens. And so I think these three especially work really well together, and then it's going to be with this as the main colour. So yeah, next episode this will be on the needles and I will have started knitting on it. It's very exciting. So yes, thank you for all your suggestions. I sort of listened to you all. I definitely took everything on board, which was, yeah. So while we're on the subject, thank you for all your lovely comments and likes last week. There was quite a few new subscribers again, which is really good. And yeah, we'll get to that 1,000 mark so I can open that community tab and then we can have the chat and you'll know when all the episodes are coming out. That's not great. So yeah, that's the plan. We'll get to 1,000 subscribers and then we can open that community tab on YouTube. And then I'll be able to give updates on when the new episodes are coming out. If you don't follow me on one of the many ways you can follow me, which is up there, I will also try and keep those as updated as possible. I am only human. I am wearing my Flax Light today. This is knit in Malabrigo yarn in the Peardress colourway. And it is very beautiful and autumnal and I love it very much. It has the garter detailing down the side. This is yeah, Flax Light, which is a free pattern by, I think it's a free pattern by Tin Can Knits, and I knit it last year. It is on the podcast if you want to see the process, and I knit it using the helical method, which is where you do the that bit, holding the two, alternating two yarns in a spiral method so that you don't get any pooling. And there I think at one point, because it was pooling even with helical, I think I had about 4 yarns on the go, so it was a bit of an effort with this jumper, but it's such a lovely autumnal jumper. And I have actually lost a bit of weight, so it is fitting me. I'm feeling more comfortable in it, less belly. So yeah, very happy about that. Definitely will get more wear this year. It's autumn is coming. The leaves outside the window are turning all the beautiful colours. It's really pretty out there. So yeah, leaves are turning colour, autumn is coming, it's getting cooler, time to wear hats and knit mitts and all the hand knit times. Lovely, my favourite time of year, time to wear all the hand knits, although admittedly I wear them all year round. And so because I've already waffled on for God knows how long, I will get cracking with finished objects. And I'll start with the boring ones because these have been on the past couple of episodes. Hang on while I shut up. I have finished my Zauberball socks. It's a lovely hair there. So these were done by putting in the afterthought heel, which I have now done. And they don't look great, but you can see. I've used the same Zauberball that I've used for the sock, and I've just cut in. And this way, I found with Zauberballs, especially with it being this sort of fractal ply type yarn, this is the best way to get the flow of yarn going down the front of the foot and not breaking it. Because if you put any heel in at the same time, you are going to end up with a line here. And I've done that before with these. So doing an afterthought heel with this type of yarn, I found is the best way to do it. So these are 64 stitches, they were knit on 2.25 needles. It has a plain wedge toe and I just knit them as a tube. So cast on, knit, I think I only did 10 rounds of rib for these, knit all the way down and then did a toe and then went back after to put in the heel. And these have been my knitting, my sort of in the round knitting at work on lunch breaks and bus journeys and when I get home and can't think about knitting anything that has any need for concentration. So I have been having plain knitting on the needles, and this is the first pair that I knit when I started the new job. And for the heel, you just cut in and pretty much just knit another toe. It's a wedge toe, but what I tend to do is I will knit at least 3 or 4 rounds just straight round, just to give you that bit of depth in the heel. And these are actually quite huge. I was trying to get them bigger because I thought I was knitting the foot of socks too short for me especially, and I might have gone the other way and made these a bit too big, but they're actually not for me, they're for Mum, and I'm sure she'll be happy with them. And if they are too big for her, I'll find someone with bigger feet that wants some autumnal socks. But yeah, I'm happy. I had a bit of a pain putting in the afterthought heels just because this is quite splitty yarn in a way. So yeah, it wasn't my favourite thing to do, but I'll show you how I got around that on a pair that I'm working on at the moment. The second pair is also boring work knitting. You've seen these before, and it's another Zauberball. But these ones won't go on a blocker because they are knee-high socks, and there is a pair. So these were knit exactly the same way, apart from I cast on 72 to start with, and then slowly, like every 10-20 rows or so, just decreased 1 stitch until I was down to 64 in the tube, and then knit right down to the end and did the toe and put the afterthought heels in exactly the same way. And they're actually the same size because I used the same measurement, so if they don't fit Mum, these won't fit Mum, and these are definitely for her. She requested knee-length socks, so hopefully these will fit. Proper welly socks these are. I think the thing that I found the most interesting with these is I wanted to knit these to use the full 100 grams of Zauberballs, because I don't know if you've ever knit with a Zauberball. I don't think I've actually got one to hand. They do tend to feel like they're just going to go on forever, and these knit, this is the whole 100 grams. I didn't even have 2 grams left when I'd finished, when I did the heels. This is the whole 100 grams. And the interesting thing is there is no colour repeat in there whatsoever. The whole 100 grams is just complete, well, it's not random, it's a fractal ply. So you get this bit where they go darker and lighter with the colours that are in the yarn. But there is no repeat in there, so in the whole 100 grams. So I think if you are the type of person that wanted matching socks with Zauberballs, that's not going to happen unless you buy 2 balls of the same colour. And then you're just going to end up with about 6 pairs of the same coloured socks. But yeah, that is another pair of finished socks. That's it for the work knitting. But I do have another pair of finished socks, and these are my blueberry waffle socks. I'm blowing out the light slightly. They're not showing up great. Morning light does weird things when you're doing a podcast. This is Hedgerow Yarns. It didn't have a colourway name. It was a one of a kind that I got off on eBay de-stash. And it's just beautiful yarn. It's got little tweedy neps in it, so it's really lovely and autumnal. I did think maybe these might end up in my Christmas box of socks, but I have another idea about boxes of socks. Because I really enjoy when it gets to this time of year and I can sort of start knitting socks for my Christmas box of socks. But I was also thinking it would be really nice if I had that for every season. So if I had one for spring and summer and winter and what's the other one? Autumn! Yes, I know the seasons. Well done me. Yeah, so I thought these would be really nice to add to an autumnal box of socks. And I think that's maybe what's going to happen. I think I might end up with four boxes of seasonal socks. I do knit a lot of socks. It's not like, I mean, it might take a while to fill them up, but yeah. Yeah, so the blueberry waffle pattern is a free pattern on Ravelry. I don't know if it's available anywhere else. If it is, I will find it. And it is a broken rib pattern. And I have knit it pretty much straight to pattern. I put in an afterthought, no, I put in a heel toe and gusset in a contrast colour, and I added that in for the toe as well. This is just a colour that I dyed up. It's just a dark navy. I think it was just when I was playing around with colours, and I think it goes really well. And yeah, so these are, I think, probably a bit too short. So where the others were a bit too long, I think these might actually be a bit too short. But it will require trying them on, which I haven't done, to find that out. And also I think they're too short in the leg. I think I might need to start knitting my legs on my nice socks longer. Because even though these look quite long, when you've actually got them on your feet, you're only just getting a bit of ankle coverage, and I like them to come a bit further up and keep a bit of my calves warm. But yeah, I'm really pleased with these. They're nice. I love the yarn. Okay, I have one more finished object, and it's something you haven't seen. And it's one of those things where I feel like I need you to brace yourselves. Because if you've been here for a while, and you were around for the Stephen West Mystery Cal last year, you will know that there was one thing that I feared above all others when it came to that shawl. Not because I can't do it, but because I don't do it very often, and because it's not something that comes natural to me as far as knitting is concerned, and that is brioche. I was fairly sure there would be a brioche section in that shawl, and lo and behold there was. I did try and do the brioche section. It ended in tears, and I had to rip it out and do the garter version instead. Don't hate that. Really love it in the shawl, but it has sort of been something in my head that I kind of just wish I'd been able to do it, because I learnt so much from knitting that shawl that the fact that I was defeated by that section felt a little bit like, And I have absolutely avoided doing anything with brioche since then. So with the shawl coming up for this year, I didn't want there to come to a brioche section. If there is one, there may not be. It's going to be slip stitches, I think, the whole slip extravaganza thing. So there may not be a brioche section in this shawl, but I didn't want to get to a brioche section and be like, oh god. So I cast on a brioche project. And this is I think it's called the Daniel hat. I'll put the details on the screen because I can't quite remember. I think it was by Zolda T, and it is a free pattern, and it is just a very simple brioche hat. Now I knit this, where's the yarn gone? Whoop. I'm so organised and now I can't find anything. was in there. It was, I promise you, I remember. This is a Rico yarn, and it's one that I got from the York Makery when that was still open. And it is lovely. It again has little tweedy nips. I don't know if you can see those in it. And it's just a grey and it's really soft and squishy, and it's an Aran weight, but it knits up really light so you don't get that denseness. And that is also added to by the Brioche stitch, which is a really nice drapey stitch. And it starts with a hem and then you move into a brioche section. And I'm not a natural at brioche. I'm not at all. For the first sort of 2 to 3 inches of this, I was fighting my brain to even work on this. It did not want to do it. It was like procrastinating like mad. Suddenly it was really important that I clean the kitchen cabinets and all things like that. Yeah. Knitting is my relaxing time. It is my sort of peaceful time. So as much as I do like doing things that challenge me in knitting, to do something that's relatively simple but requires so much brain space. I think I talked about it on an episode previously where I was doing a lace pattern that was simple, but because it was sort of either, you know, one thing or the other, I was getting confused with it and my brain just was like, nope, not having this. And that's exactly what I was like with brioche. It just was rejecting it as a concept, was my brain. It was just like, this isn't what we sit and knit for. We sit and knit to have a nice time and we're not having a nice time. Also, I couldn't really get how to do it in the round. I don't know if you can see that on there, but my joins are fairly atrocious. I ended up crocheting it together with a crochet slip stitch because it just looked horrendous. And also the decreases I was fairly rubbish at. But what I did was I made myself work on this for like 20-30 minutes a day so that I would get to the point where I knew what I was doing and I didn't have to watch a video for every stitch every time. And that is what happened. I picked it up and then after a few days I could pick it up and know what the stitches were. And then I started to look at the stitches and learn them a bit more, and it all sort of started slowly to sink in. So much to the point that by the time I was doing the decreases, and I didn't like doing the decreases, I was a bit sad because I'd started to enjoy this bit. And I made a decision that I should probably always have some type of brioche project on the needles. I do have another one which I'll show you in works in progress. But yeah, I have a finished hat. It's not perfect. It's a bit, I had to mattress stitch these together because they just look, they don't look that bad, but that's, I think, the openness of the brioche stitch anyway. And this is by no means perfect, but it doesn't look bad, and that's fine as far as I'm concerned. And actually, it's kind of a cute hat. I haven't pommed it because it just doesn't really need one. It's kind of just cute as it is. The pattern shows that you fold this brim up, and it also shows it without slouch, which I knit this, I think at least 1 inch, 5 centimetres longer than the pattern suggests anyway. And I knit the rib to the size it's what it says, and as I say, it's in the pattern it shows it being rolled up. Now, I'm not a fan of this look, and it's not really me, but it works the way I had it before, with a bit of slouch. As long as I remember to put my awful joins at the back. So yeah, I like that. It's really cute. And that is it for finished objects this week. So let's move on to works in progress. I'll start with the boring one, but it's not that boring this time. I got a little bit tired of using the Zaba balls for my work knitting, so I decided to cake up something a little bit more interesting. And I have this gorgeous neon, beautiful thing from Siobhan's Crafts. This is a yarn that Siobhan dyed for me specially. It's very similar to her charcoal rainbow, it's just a lot darker in colour. And it's a colour that she has in her Opposites Attract mini set. It's the darkest colour in that set. And my mum loved it when she saw it knitted into my mitered square blanket. So I asked her to dye me up a full skein so I could make mum Christmas socks out of it. And so that's what I caked up for my boring knitting, because I was just going to knit them as a tube, as I have been doing. And that's what I've done. Doesn't this knit up absolutely fab? That looks so bright and amazing on the screen there. So yeah, 2x2 rib, as is my cuff of preference. That sounds weird. And the toe is in another yarn by Siobhan's Craft. I think this is called Rave 4.0 maybe, and it's just all her bright colours together. And what I was saying before about not really having much fun putting in those afterthought heels because I was picking up wrong rows and all sorts, with this one I've actually put in a line in a different yarn where it's going to go. So I think technically this is no, those words aren't going to work. A forethought afterthought heel. Whoever thought those up has a better tongue than I do, because I can't make that work. So yeah, so what will happen is when I come to putting in the heel, I just pick up either side of this yellow line and then pull that out, and then my stitches are there ready, and I don't have to do any thinking, it's just all there ready to go. So yeah, I've already got one done, apart from the heel obviously, and the second one I cast on Sunday, it's Tuesday now, so that I could knit this when I was at work yesterday. So I've got the heel done, and I got about 1.5 inches, 2 inches of the body of the foot done, and that will keep me going this week when I'm at work. It has become a bit of a Sunday ritual now that I've got to make sure I've got a sock on the needles, because I knit through them really fast, especially when it's just round and round and round. I think that's why I'm doing more pattern socks, because it's just like it's going too quickly, there's too many socks. I'll continue on with socks while we're on the sock theme. There are other things to show you this week. Okay, and I have finished one of my Christmas colourway Whispers in the Wall socks. This is a pattern by Kay Jones of the Bakery Bears. It was from her Harry Potter collection. I absolutely love this pattern. I cannot say in actual words how much I love this pattern. It looks so intricate and so beautiful. The lace on it. I'm going to take it off here. Sorry, I'll show you again. I'll show you the lace in a bit. So I think the pattern calls for a 1x1 rib. I've done 2x2, but I've just done a standard heel flap and gusset. This was all to pattern, and I've done a wedge toe. It's 64 stitches again. I have knit this pattern about 3 times now, quite recently as well. I just can't stop knitting this. And what I did with this one is I made the leg a bit longer, like I was mentioning before. I felt like they just needed a bit longer, and the foot is a little bit longer as well. So it's a bit baggy on these blockers, but it will actually fit my foot better. And this is a Christmas colourway. It's by Yarndale Fibres, and I think it was either Silent Night or Winter Wonderland. I'm definitely getting it confused with this year's West Yorkshire Spinners name, which I now have. I now have that yarn. I will show you in acquisitions. There are many. But yeah, I got one finished, and I'll just take it off the block and show you the lace. Do sock puppet. Oh, time for sock puppet. Oh, sock puppet time. So yeah, it's got rows of like 1x1 pass cables, and then it's got this lace section in the middle. Obviously this is upside down because hello. It's just, for something that's so intricate, it's so simple. Yes, I have to have the pattern there, but all I have to do is glance at it and know which row I'm on, and I know exactly what I'm doing. And then on the back, I'm not doing the pattern on the back. The pattern does have some patterning. The pattern has patterning that goes down the back here, which I'm not doing, I'm just doing it plain. So you do that and then it's plain. And there's really only sort of slightly more complicated pattern every other row. So you have rest rows in the pattern as well, which is fab, and I love them. So yeah, I definitely wanted a pair in my Christmas box, so that's why I'm knitting them in this yarn. And this is the second one. It has not got very far. I was knitting on this morning, and I've literally just done a repeat this morning of the pattern, and it is a 12 row repeat. So yeah, they are my Whispers in the Wool socks, and I love them. And I have another new sock cast on that you haven't seen. I haven't made much progress with all the other socks that are on the needles. There has been other projects that have been taking my time. Yeah, let me make sure that this is not going to fall off the needles. So let me show you the yarn first. This is beautiful. This is a yarn that's been sort of here in the stash for a while. I got it at the British Wool Show last year or the year before, and it is by the Fibre Fox. And if you've ever seen the Fibre Fox's skeins of yarn, they are a work of art in themselves. This was absolutely beautiful. If I can get the camera to play, excuse me, so if I can get the computer to play, I will put a picture up on the screen. Editing Liz may hate me for saying that, because my computer has decided when I am editing it won't let me open any other programs. It's not fun. So yeah. So if Editing Liz is mad right now, then I apologise, and I will definitely put a picture up on Instagram. But yeah, the yarn was so beautiful in the skein that I just didn't know how it was going to knit up like, and sometimes that's a bit of a worry when something is so beautiful in the skein. I was very precious about this yarn because it was so beautiful, and I didn't know what I wanted to knit it. I knew it was going to be socks, but I didn't know what pattern. I don't know. Anyway, it was virtual Yarndale the other weekend, and I treated myself to a lot of lovely yarn. It was my first proper sort of spend on yarny purchases this year. What with everything that's been going on, I've been very restrictive in what I have been getting. But I got some redundancy money from my old job, so I decided it was time to treat myself to some yarn stash enhancements, and that is what I did. And because of that, I don't know if you're the same, whenever new yarn comes in, I always feel like some of the special stuff that I've been hoarding, it's okay for me to cast it on now because I've got something new to cherish. It's very weird, but so yeah, so I finally cast on this Fibre Fox colourway. The colourway is called Secret Garden, and I'm going to show you. So it pulled slightly in the rib. This is a 1x1 twisted rib. This is what the pattern called for. This pattern is, it's actually the free pattern that came with last year's West Yorkshire Spinners Robin colourway. A lot of people got like a card which had a pattern by Winwick Mum, which was the Christmas Robin socks, and it has this sort of paper chain design, design down the front. And Secret Garden yarn is not necessarily Christmassy, but I wanted these for the box of socks, so I decided to do the Christmas pattern on them. And I kind of have to pull these apart because they are ribbed and cabled, and so I have to pull them apart so you can actually see the design. And I'm only just down the leg of the first one. They aren't particularly slow going. It is quite a big cable. It's a double cross, and it only continues down the leg. It's not on the foot because it's quite, I don't know why I'm expecting you to be able to feel this, but it's quite bumpy. I don't think you'd want that bit in your shoes. But yeah, it's starting to sort of candy cane spiral in these sort of pinks and greens. So this is going in my Christmas box of socks, and I'm very much enjoying it. Apart from the fact I keep wanting to. It will be beautiful, but I think it's just that sort of cuff that when it goes in like that, and you're just a bit like, I'm also dubious about what heel to put in because I don't want to disrupt how this yarn is patterning now. I like this, and it could pull and do awful things if I put like even a short row or a heel flap and gusset in. If I put a heel flap and gusset in, it's going to do weird things on the decreases even if I do a contrast, so I'm going to have to put a short row heel in, and I don't know what colour. So this has stalled slightly. There will be something. There will be something. I'm just not sure what yet. But I think I've got another cable to do, and then a little bit, and then I'm on to having to make that decision. So but you'll see more of that soon. Okay. How are we doing for time? We are fine. So that is it for socks that I've got to show you this week, but what I am going to show you now is what came out last week for a while after being in hibernation, which is my, doesn't that look pretty? This is my fading point shawl, which is a pattern by Hoki Locatelli, and last time I had nearly finished the 2 halves, and this time I have joined them together. It's so long, it's really difficult to show this, but yeah. So yeah, I have joined them together, and I have done the first half of the cross that joins them together in the middle there. This is knit out of 5 skeins of yarn, and I am using the Good Life collection by Ducky Darlings. It is these beautiful pastel shades that all have very similar speckles to them. I just absolutely love it. And a couple more days of knitting and this will be finished, which is great. I was trying to see what size needle it is. I think it's 4mm needles. It's a paid for pattern. It has taken me a while, has this. And it's just going to be beautiful. Oh, hello Cal. Hey baby. You're going to sit on the sofa, please? Cal. Cal, come here. You sit on the sofa? No, on the sofa, please. Thank you. I don't think Pooks is about. Don't know where Pooka is. So yeah, there's not really a lot to say about this. Next time I show you it, it should be finished, and I will talk more about it then. It hasn't been my favourite thing to knit, but I know I'm going to absolutely love it when it's finished. And yeah, hopefully next time I see you, actually, next time you see this, it will be finished. While I'm on shawls, I have a new shawl cast on, and this is also my newest Brioche project. And this is in a new bag. This is one of my Yarndale weekend purchases. I have a new project bag that I didn't make myself. It is actually by the Woolly Tangle, and it is this hummingbird, this geometric hummingbird fabric that I just completely fell in love with. It is so pretty, and yeah, I'm really chuffed with this. And in here is, I don't know if you remember, I was caking up my singles and I said some of them were for a project that I had in mind, and that was these two. And I was going to knit my Raven shawl in them, just because I really love the way that plays the colours together. But then I remembered this as a Brioche pattern that's been on my list for a while. It is a shawl by, no, can't remember. The details of who the pattern is by will be on the screen. But it is the All About That Brioche shawl, and it is an asymmetric shawl that starts here, and then you knit a big garter section increasing, and then you go into a brioche section with the second colour, and then that changes to brioche where the main colour is flipped around. These colours are very similar to each other, so this may be quite subtle. Yeah, So you get the flip around, and then the final section is garter in this colour. And the colours I'm using are by Fruitful Fusions. One of them, this one, is the first colour, which I'm nearly out of, and that's Freshwater colourway. I'm not 100% sure what this one was called, but they are merino singles. They are utterly beautiful. Yeah, really, I've been wanting to knit these yarns ever since I got them. Just been waiting for the right project to come along, and I feel like this is it. I'm really pleased with this. You can see on the other side the two colour brioche. So yeah, and I think it's fair to say I might have got the knack of brioche. I mean, obviously it's very simple. I'm only increasing and decreasing at the edges, and everything else is just straight. But it is two colour, and I don't think I've messed up too badly. The edges look okay. This one looks a bit wonky, but mainly the transition from the garter to the brioche. But nobody's going to notice that. Other than that, I am fairly chuffed with it. I keep getting attached to things. Yeah. It's knit on 3.5 needles, which is giving a really nice fabric actually. It's less open than the 4mm of my fading point shawl, and with it being garter it's so squishy and lovely, and the single ply of course. Sorry about the grumbling cat. If I just completely take over the screen with this, you can see the stitch definition on a single ply is just beautiful. And yeah, so second brioche project. I am actually enjoying it. It is kind of all I want to knit on actually. This was cast on back end of last week, and I'm already nearly finished on the brioche sections. I only have one more repeat to go. Oh dear, Miranda's falling over. Miranda is my dress form and Puka has just pushed her over. It seems to be fine. So yeah, I've nearly finished on the brioche sections. Ooh, there is sunshine. Can you see the sunshine? I've nearly finished on the brioche sections, and it's just garter all the way to the end then. So yeah, that's pretty much it for works in progress, apart from my Mitered square blanket, which I will do an update on this week. This is my second Mitered square blanket. I started my first one on Boxing Day, which was the 26th of December last year. And I finished that one earlier this year because I was knitting far more than one square a day on it. It was the project that I picked up every morning, and I would usually knit 2 or 3. I mean, some days during lockdown I think I got 5 or 6 squares knit on it. It was just, some days it was all I wanted to knit on, it was all I wanted to think about. And it's now become a habit that every morning it is the first thing I pick up on to knit on. I knit 1 square every day, and I am on my second one. The first one I did alternating coloured yarns and grey yarns. If I can, sorry editing Liz, I will put a picture in. And my new one is just a hodgepodge of random. So it is currently nearly 9 by 9, I think. 1, 2, 3, 4, oh hang on. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay, so it's currently over, just slightly over 100 squares, sorry, needles. And this is 2 months of every morning knitting at least 1 square. So yeah, if I get you closer you can see my squares have 46 stitches, and I'm using a 2.5, I think. I'm using a 2.5 needle, and all the yarn I'm using is 4-ply, and it is all hand-dyed yarn that has either been left over from projects or got in swaps. I do have a stripe, where's it gone? I have a stripe here, which is yarn that I got in a swap from Henny Penny Makes. And also completely, look at that orange and green. I'm slightly obsessed with oranges and greens at the moment. But yeah, so every morning. So when I started this blanket, I started with this first square at this corner, and then I kept knitting out in ever bigger squares. I found that the easier way, rather than trying to make a really long strip and then going from there, just because for me and the way I make things, I feel like just adding a load of squares and making a big long strip, you're not really seeing progress fast. Well, you are, it's a big long strip, it's not a blanket. With this, and doing it this way by making it into squares, it is growing into something that is almost slightly usable. You know, you get it to so big, and if you wanted to stop now, it could be a cushion, you know, it could be a floor cushion, and it keeps on growing that way. It's just how my head works, and it's the best way I've also found to do it. The other thing that I do is I don't pick up my stitches as the first thing in the morning. I always leave my blanket somewhere like this. So I have picked up the next square and I am part way through it. That way, the first thing I do in a morning is I finish this square, and that counts as my square a day. And then I will pick up the next square and either knit it if I have time, or I leave it in a place where I can finish it the next morning. And that way, the knitting in the morning is just relaxing knitting. The first thing I don't have to just, you know, words. I do it this way because that means that my first task of the morning isn't picking up stitches, which I don't think anybody wants as their first task in a morning. It means I can just finish a square, have a little win, and then pick up the one for the next day when I'm feeling more awake. I've had my breakfast, I've had a cup of tea, and get it ready. It also means that I can sort of prep for the next day. If I know it's going to be a busier day, I might try and knit more into that, so that I know that I don't have an hour or an hour and a half in the morning, so I only leave myself with half an hour's worth of knitting to finish that square and pick up the next one. So I can plan ahead, and it works very well for me. But if you are doing a mitre square blanket, you do you. Whatever works for you, whatever makes these grow, I think it's definitely worth it. Because yeah, after 2 months I've already got, it's about 1 metre square at the moment, and I love it. So yeah, that's my mitre square blanket. It does get the most work. Yeah, I do work on it the most of pretty much any project, because it's literally the first thing I work on every day. And I try and do a Sunday share on Instagram where I do an update and a count for how many squares I've got done this week. Although the past couple of weeks I've been pretty bad at doing that, and I have forgotten. So yeah, that is all my finished objects and works in progress this week. What's up, Cal? You okay? Do you want to go in the basket? Hello. Yeah, I did that. Sorry, I've got a cat in my face now. Yeah, that is all my finished objects and works in progress for the past couple of weeks. I do have a bit of a yarn haul to share. This bag here, this box here, is kind of full of all my Yarndale purchases, and there are quite a few. It was a very much treating myself. I don't think I'm going to go into in-depth about all of these, but I will show you some of them. Mainly they are for socks. Socks seems to be what I want to knit the most at the moment, so that was where my brain was when I was buying yarn. And the first thing I got was I got the official Yarndale ladle tote bag, little project bag, which came with the Yarndale colour of West Yorkshire Spinners, and this is very Yarndale. If you've ever been, you'll know these are definitely the Yarndale colours. And this is a self-striping yarn, and it will knit up into beautiful socks at some point. So yeah, I had to get that. And I also got the new Christmas colourway from West Yorkshire Spinners. This is the dark blue. I don't think this will get up knit. So I don't think this will be knit up this year. I think it might wait till next year. I'm not 100% sure how I see how. No, I'm not 100% sure how I feel about it. Look, words. I have seen quite a few pictures of this pooling when it's knitted up, so I'm not 100% sure if I 100% like it. But it will get knit up eventually, just probably not this year. That is because I have other Christmas yarn. This is just a cake of green yarn. It is not. I did also grab some more commercial yarn because I seem to be knitting through commercial yarn quite fast on my my boring knits, my weekly socks. And I thought Mum would really enjoy this colour, and she does. It's an opal. It's from their comedy range. Those are the details if you want the details. And how it's going to knit up. And I think that's just going to be quite fun to knit up on for my boring work knitting. Okay. So this yarn actually came from a de-stash on Ravelry. And this is kind of a bit of a yarn story. So this is by Witch Fibre Co. And a couple of years ago, just when I was sort of starting to get into hand-dyed yarn and knitting more than I was starting to just slightly knit more than I crocheted, and I was going down the rabbit hole. I've just dipped my toe into the start of the rabbit hole, but I was heading in the right direction. I came across this yarn by Witch Fibre Co. And it was a range of yarn, excuse me, it was a range of yarn that was based on Jurassic Park. Now Jurassic Park and the whole franchise of Jurassic Park is one of my favourite films. I just absolutely love it. I'm not apologising at all. I realise they're not the best films in the entire world, but to me, I love them. They're massively in my heart. Just that music will get me every time. Just big Jurassic Park fan. And when I saw this yarn selection, I was like, oh my god, Jurassic Park yarn, that's amazing. But it was expensive yarn. Hand-dyed yarn is expensive, and I hadn't quite got to the stage in my journey as a knitter where I was happy paying that for yarn. So as much as I thought these were really pretty, I wasn't going to buy them. And I have regretted that decision ever since, pretty much. Because I think it was only a couple months later that I sort of decided, no, I really want that yarn. And I went on to try and get it, and it was not there. It was not there. And so when I saw these in a de-stash, I was just like, I cannot actually believe that I could get those. And so I messaged the lady, and I was just like, yeah, please. Because she had, this is the island, Isla Nublar colour, which is the island that the dinosaurs are on, if you're not a Jurassic Park fan. And this is a colour that she had in her sort of de-stash pictures, but in her stash she also had this one, which was Dino DNA, and I couldn't really tell whether this one was in her de-stash as well. And I was just like, is it possible to have both? And anyway, I got them. I got both. So I have Isla Nublar and Dino DNA, and they are just, it's the official sort of yarn that got away. It got away, but I have it now. It's mine. It's mine. So yeah, very precious yarns, and will be very, very very happy socks one day. So yes. When I was buying black elephant yarn for the slip extravaganza, I also got this colourway, which is sorry, I'm really got a tickle. This is black elephant yarns. It is another merino single. I got it to see if it might go with the shawl. It doesn't quite work. They're all a bit too similar if I go for this one. It's the Indian summer colourway. It's absolutely beautiful, and it will become something. Probably a shawl. I like singles for shawls. Although I am tempted just to knit a pair of socks in a single just to see how long they do last. Is that kind of sort of masochistic in a way? It's like you're taking a beautiful yarn and it might not live so long. I don't know. Maybe. Tell me what you think. Would you knit a beautiful single yarn into a pair of socks knowing that they might not last forever? Interesting. Is it a moral question? I don't think it's a moral question. Right, okay. I also got some stranded. This is the Christmas is Cancelled colourway, which is the mistake batch of the new Christmas colourway. I had gone on to buy the sort of official Christmas colourway, but in the heady sort of rush of a shop update that will sell out very fast, I clicked on this one and I got this one, and I am very, very happy with it. I absolutely love this colourway, and it's sort of in a way more special than getting the actual Christmas one, which I might get at some point, but I'm very happy to have this one too. This will of course be socks that go in my Christmas box of socks. It will probably be another pair of the blueberry waffle socks. Just with the way the tones in this work, I think that sock pattern will work really well with it. And that will be cast on really very soon. Very soon. Very, very soon. I got another project bag. This is by Siobhan's Craft, and it was her autumnal project bag which came with her autumnal minis. Is that not absolutely beautiful? And these minis will also be socks. There is a theme, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to stripe them with this dark green Cascade Heritage. So it'll be cuffs in this, a stripe of each of the colours, but in between each of the colours there will be at least 2 rows of this dark green. So I'll make them pop and they'll be really pretty. And this might, again, how many things can I cast on like today? I mean, technically probably 3 or 4. How much I actually get knit on those is another question. But yeah, so this might, and I might ball up those minis while I'm editing, because editing is a really good time for winding things up. And what else did I got some yarn by Chromatic Yarns, which is lovely Hannah of Corner of Craft. She had like a bit of a bargain bin in her latest update, and I picked up this one because I've been after a yellow in her yarn to go with one that I got a while ago. Yeah, was it last year? Was it the year before? I went to the Wool Monty and I got to meet Hannah, and I got this one, which is the Fuzzy Buzzy colourway. Absolutely love it. Really wanted it to be a 2-colour shawl, but could never quite find the right yarn to go with it. So when I saw this yellow one in her update, I thought, brilliant, I'll get that. This is a dandelion colourway. The thing is, they don't really go together yellow-wise. One is very golden and one is very lemon. They don't really work. So these are not going to live together. This is going to be socks, and this is still waiting for its perfect shawl partner. It will find it one day. Hopefully when we get yarn shows again and I can go and see Hannah in person and see them together and pick one out. But this is going to be very, very pretty socks. So yeah, this one is by My Mum Knits. I've had minis from her before, but this is the first full skein I've got. I got this colourway as a mini skein for from just a mixed pack, I think it was, for my Mitered square blanket. And I just love the way this knits up. can I show you? Not without digging it out again. It's just, yeah, it just knits up so lovely. And obviously I got a 10-gram mini skein. So I've knit it into both of my mitered square blankets, and every time I've knit it I've just been like, I need to get a full skein of that. So I decided it was the time, and I got a full skein. I also got one of her scrappy sort of blanket sets as well, of 5-gram minis, but I haven't brought that out to show you because I've got, but yeah, so I also got some little minis from her. I got myself some yarn from Mothie and the Squid, and I think she was doing an offer because it was Yarndale that if you spent so much you got a free mini, and yeah, I wanted to shop with her anyway because whenever I go to Yarndale I try and shop with her. I've got some of her Christmas yarn last time I saw her, and I just love her yarn in general. I mean, one, it is so soft. I don't even know what this base is, but it's absolutely amazing. It's 60%, oh hang on, 60% superwash merino, 20% superfine alpaca and 20% nylon, and oh, this would be so nice as the colour section on a Zweig, and actually that's what might happen to this. This colourway is called Beautiful Decay. If you've ever seen Mothie and the Squid, the way she shows her yarn off, she shows it with an inspiration photo. And Beautiful Decay was like a picture of, I think it was like a rotting stump, a wooden stump, which is one of my favourite things. I know I'm very strange. I love beauty in unusual places like Beautiful Decay, and I also really love pictures of things that are human and man-made being reclaimed by nature. Yeah, just so seeing this Beautiful Decay, I was just like, yeah, I have to have that. I think the actual name is beautiful, and I think the yarn is incredibly beautiful, and it's sort of all those sort of muddy pinks and greens that just, it's just, look, I mean, sorry, that's a really good shot of the colours, although it's not quite showing how pink it gets in places, but I mean, yeah, that is just, I didn't realise how soft it was until now. I sort of opened these and put them in the basket, and I was like, I'm not allowed to touch them until I've podcasted them, but now I'm just like, I'm just going to sit here a while and stroke this. Yeah, and make the video like twice as long. This is just a 75/25, and this one is also by Mothie and Squid, but completely different in colour. It's called Hummingbird Kisses. It's stunningly beautiful. And I've never really had any of her bright, beautiful yarn, and I just could not resist this. It's, that colour that you're seeing on the screen is pretty accurate, actually. It's all the speckles, all the beautiful bright greens and blues and purples. And I mean, yeah, it's probably going to be socks, but aren't they going to be the most beautiful socks you've ever seen? So that was my Mothie and the Squid purchase. I did get a mini. I got this lovely purple and green mini. I also got, in the basket, in the bundle, this really beautiful keychain, which I'm going to put on that autumnal project bag because it's really pretty. So that was really nice. I'm getting confused because I'm putting stuff back in. I, of course, shopped with Ducky Darlings, who I wasn't able to see in person, so I couldn't give them squeezes, but I will give Hayley a big virtual squeeze via the process of this podcast. And I finally picked up some of her peach colourways. I have been coveting these every time I see her stand, and just never actually bought some, so it was time. I got Soft Centre, which is this peach and grey. It's such a summery colour, it's so beautiful. Stunning. And I got this colour, which is Sushi. So this is peaches and greens and speckles and all things amazing. So yeah, probably socks, but I love them. And finally I shopped the Yarn Badger update. So Liz, who is infamous for her self-striping yarn, had an update on the Sunday of Yarndale, and I got 2 skeins from her. I finally got her winter rainbow colourway, which will be going into my Christmas box of socks when it is knit up. I will be knitting this colour in November, because I will be knitting her Advent colour in December. And, oh hang on, where's it gone? That's my little self-striping stash that you can't really see. And this is the Yarn Badger colour that I will be casting on this month, which is her pumpkin patch, which was her autumnal colour from last year. So it can finally come out and play and be my sort of Halloween, autumn, lovely self-striping. So that is the one that I'll be casting on in October, November, and then the December, the Advent one. And this one will hang out in stash for a while because it is amazing and I will look forward to knitting it in the future. And this is her new Blue Flace Leicester and Bamboo base, and just die of the adorable when you see this name. It's Rainbow! Oh my god, I don't know why it excites me so much. It's a rainbow colourway. It is like a beautiful pastel soft sort of candy coloured rainbow. But rainbow! Because it's bamboo! It's lovely. And this, the winter one is on her yak sock base, which I love the yak sock. So yeah, I'm kind of hoping I've got enough left after I've knit a pair of socks to knit myself some gloves out of this. Because everybody needs matching socks and gloves, right? Yeah. And I still haven't knit myself some gloves. So that needs to happen. And I think that's about it. And so the next time I see you will be pretty soon. I'm going to try and do as regular as possible podcasts during the Slipstravaganza, just so I can keep up with the instalments. I think it's weekly. I don't know if I'll get podcasts done weekly. I am going to try. Mainly it will depend on how much knitting time I get, because there's not a lot of point in showing you if this instalment has come out but I haven't actually knit anything on it. But I'm hopeful. Definitely be back for the first part, hopefully in about a week's time, maybe a week on Thursday. That means nothing. So yeah, I think that's about everything. Yeah, well, it's settling down. The kittens are pretty settling down. Puka's gonna have to go and be spayed or neutered before too long. She's getting a bit howly every now and then. But I thought I'd just get her, because you hadn't really seen her that much this episode. And so now she's going to rip my jumper to pieces. Puka. Okay, so yeah, that's about it. Lots of stuff to wind up and cast on, and I'm going to go and do that. So I will see you soon. Bye friends.